Hey guys, this is Rainwolf, and we are back with the 86.
Hey guys, Kirido Silverheart here.
And this is Asuna Silverheart.
So we are on episode 9, and we had another break. I'm getting tired of these breaks because they're happening like when shit's hitting the fan. Then we get
trust me, I'm right there with you. Like the anxiety I had last week about was there an episode? Like why am I not seeing an episode? What the hell's going on?
So with all this going on, we are now back into it. It starts off, we're pretty much at camp, and we see this plane. By the looks of it, explodes.
It looked like it did, but I don't think it did.
No, it's kind of like that. What we learned is kind of like a disturbance or interference type. Pretty much how you have with aircraft that has those flares that to stop heat seekers from detecting them.
Yeah, essentially what we have now is the Federation and the United Kingdom forces are using chafes to disrupt communications and things. It's
From
a very
Legion.
similar tactic that the Legion's been using.
Okay. So they're having the hope that they will buy enough time with this, because even with that, they're going to detect. Even though they have the other kingdom coming in to cause a distraction, they also have. Now they have, but they're also keeping a good eye on the Federation because they're the main, from what it seems like, they're the main threat currently to the Legion.
That's kind of the impression I got, but at the same time, like, it's interesting because they're banking on the 86 forces, obviously, but they've got the rest of Nordlich and the rest of the Federation forces teamed up with forces from the other two kingdoms, and they are making multi-point distractions and a massive push, and they're trying to trick the Legion into thinking that this big force over here is even bigger than it is, and that they need to focus on them so that the 86 can backdoor their way into further territory.
Yeah, this bulkhead SOB
Mantis.
Yes, I hate him so much with a passion right now because of the words he says. It's like they're a blade for us. Keep him around as long as possible.
Yeah, but I gotta say, he's not wrong.
Yes, but still.
He's at least better than the ones that were just like, why don't we kill them? And, at least he's...
The Republic,
he's
yeah.
He's only slightly better than those guys, I guess.
Well, I mean, even certain people in the Federation, too. But, yeah, I mean, he even clarifies, he's like, no, I don't want them dead. He's like, they're the best of the best. I want them out front, and I want them fighting as long as they possibly can. Mm-hmm. But I still want them out front fighting.
So after all this discussion, it jumps over to Shin and Raiden. They're discussing the tactic that's been told to them on what's about to happen and everything of that sort. They climb up these steps. They're on like a little steps above the train track, highway type deal, so your pedestrians can walk without getting hit. And then Raiden tells him, you should take Federica and go take her back. Pretty much tells him, I don't need you because of the shape you're in currently.
Yeah, he tries to play it off at first that, Shin's the only one that can do this, which is true. But then he flat out says, he's like, there's something different about you. And we don't need you in this shape on the front lines.
Mm-hmm.
He brings it, he brings up the fact that it was like you were being controlled. There was something wrong. It wasn't right. You weren't there with us, is what it felt like to him.
This whole time, it's like, the thing is, before the whole scene where he pushes him against the fence, I thought when he turned around and started going towards him, I thought he was just going to rock him right in the face.
I mean, it gave me that feeling. I mean, I will say they are very close. It's very brotherly.
And brotherly love, sometimes that good knock to the face is what you need, sadly. When you're doing something very stupid, definitely in their case where you're putting other people's lives in the factor.
Yeah. And I mean, and then, Shin pretty much just says he'll do it himself.
Tells him off.
Oh my God. Raiden just gets so mad. So mad.
And this is when he just grabs him.
He grabs him, slings him around, and pins him to the wall of the platform. And he was just like, honestly, what the hell is going on with you? You know, you're talking about you're not planning on coming back. He's like, you're not supposed to be going out there to die.
No.
He's like, I don't go out there to plan to die. He's like, yeah, but you're not planning on coming back, so what the fuck's going on in your head?
Yeah. He's pretty much being the older brother. And he even brings up that it's like, you killed your older brother. Now, what do you have now? Why do you want to survive? But he also brings up the moment of, it's just pretty much a whole yelling match with Raiden at this moment. And then you see Shin react in a way of, what's the best way to explain?
Loss.
He hates
confusion.
Yeah. But also a moment of hating himself in a way, because of that kind of the glare when it pins over to him. And there's not really too much more to say about this side of.
No, he's. I think that is the first time. You know, Raiden did say that he's like, he doesn't want to die; he wants to live, and that's a huge step for any of them to say that, because it's like, you knew they didn't want to die, but they're not exactly the most life-preserving group.
No.
And Raiden just comes out and says it, whereas he feels like Shin doesn't care one way or the other if he lives or dies. I think that's the big difference right there.
It's kind of funny when it pans out and you see the rest of the gang in the little quarter of the screen. Then with Theo saying, it's like, I kind of feel left out of this bro moment.
Yeah, I feel like I'm not being treated as one of the guys.
He's losing the bromance.
But the thing is, Theo does, obviously, it even gets stated that he doesn't know Shin as long as Raiden has. And
Theo's the little brother. Theo is the youngest brother. As someone who has like 5 siblings, Theo is definitely like the youngest one, where it's like they leave you out of a lot of stuff, and where like the grown-ups are talking. Mm-hmm. That's exactly Theo in that moment.
And the way Federica is,
Karina even more, because she was trying to go up there, and Anju was like, no.
Anju has her held with her mouth closed.
Yeah, she's just like, it's not going to be this way, sis. I'm sorry.
It's like, if I have to knock you out, I'm going to knock you out.
She would have. I think she would have. Anju could take her. Like, I'm pretty certain Anju could take at least half of them. I mean, easy.
I think the only one that really puts up a fight in a hand-to-hand combat with Anju would be between Raiden and Shin. The other two, no.
The rest of them would go down easy.
But the posture Federica is in is like, ooh. It's like she's nosy.
The child constantly knows. For someone who can kind of read minds, she is very nosy. Like,
and Anju actually brings up as well that if you went over there, you'd just cause more problems. And she says, that's not true. And the look Theo and Anju have. This is hilarious.
I think I ship Theo and Anju for some reason. I don't know why. I think that's a ship I'm willing just to sink with. Like, because they just like, they get each other. They just know each other.
The chemistry.
Like, they look, yeah, they're just like, yeah, we know she's full of shit. Like,
I could see that.
And Theo and Anju also bring up, it's like, you need to see Shin as he is. He's not going to be our personal Reaper forever, right? And it kind of smacks her into a light. And then also, this whole conversation, Federica was savage.
Yeah, before we get into Federica, that whole conversation about, him not being the Reaper forever, we find out, later, confirmation, but ironically, that's exactly what this whole situation is about.
Yeah.
That's why Shin is being the way he is because he's lost. He's disconnected from everyone and everything, and he has his mission, he has his purpose.
And the one connection he kind of had that kind of put him into a place where he was before everything that's happened, he thinks is dead, and that's Lena.
Yeah. But you notice he doesn't reflect on Lena a lot. He always reflects on his situation with his brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's where his mindset's been lately.
Yeah.
Well, that was his driving
goal.
Force for so long. Yeah, that was his sole life goal, was to kill his brother, to set his brother free in a way. Mm-hmm. That was all he had for even before Lena. Like, that's all he had was
Yeah.
that. And then that's, once that's gone, he's trying to find other reasons to keep going forward and keep pushing in. And they talk about that shortly. He talks about that with Frederica shortly.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely, he has lost some direction. He's very lost.
Yeah.
And looking for something to keep going.
And after that little conversation as well, they also bring it. It's like coming to find out that they were trying to radio the Republic. They haven't gotten a response. And a line that I don't remember who says it at the moment, but the Major wasn't able to catch up with us, huh? The expression.
I think that was Anju.
Yeah.
I think it was Anju.
Because when this line is said, all we have is pretty much the little scene. Pretty much, they're all in the corner again of the screen. You have Theo, hand on his neck, shade, pretty much a shadow across his eyes. But you also can tell the other two are kind of not happy about this thought as well. Because they had a bond with her, really did form with all that.
Yeah, despite all the shit that especially people like Theo gave her, they came to rely on her and trust her a lot.
Theo gave her a lot.
And there were times she deserved it.
True.
But she's the only one that ever actually stood up for him.
And then now the joke gets made, just so you know, it's like, it's your big chance.
This moment of levity right here, it was needed.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it's one of those, like, you don't want to think about Karina and Shin being a ship.
No, but
like, you really don't.
No, and then Andrew's like, only bad girls do that.
Yeah, it's like, he's kind of depressed and aloof right now, and it's the perfect time to swoop in and make your move. And I'm just like, really? No.
I don't know.
No.
Frederica calls it out, though.
She shuts it down real quick.
Yeah,
oh my god.
like,
yeah, this is where the savage
like
comes
the annoying
in.
little sister. Yeah.
It's like, I think you're more of a childish aberration and a possessiveness. It's like, I think you're a little sister who's periodically difficult to deal with. And you just see the steam coming from her head. Then she passes out.
Blacks out. Anju looks at Frederica. Frederica, like, basically pisses herself.
Her world was about to end.
And Theo's just standing there awkwardly laughing, going, damn, girl, sometimes you just shut the hell up. You know? Sometimes there's shit you don't say.
Mm-hmm. It's like, I'm a good sniper, I'm useful. And then Theo's just like nodding and laughing.
He was like, yeah, honey, that's nice. That's nice. Let's let her have this moment.
Mm-hmm. Then it transitions over to Shin. He's standing next to the units. And then Fido comes up behind him. And I was like, don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. He's just standing there reminiscing. And he was like, he even makes the comments like, I would feel better if I did. Then title card. Together unto death.
Yeah, Shin knows that he's losing it. And his connection to the rest of his team and his friends that he's had for so long, it doesn't seem as personal to him as it should.
No.
He's disjointed. He's disconnected from everything.
He's lost the
disassociated. Disassociated. That's the word I'm looking for. He is disassociated. But he's in this weird, like, cognitive disassociations. Like, he knows that shit's not right. Yep. And he knows that he feels the way he feels and that he shouldn't feel this way. But he's just like, I can't help but feel the way I feel. So why drag everybody else down with me? They're all going to move on and have a life after this anyway, so why bother? Yeah.
So after the title card, it jumps over, and right after the title card, it kind of gives us I'm guessing that's a fly on the track. It's kind of what it looks like.
Looks like some kind of like a dragonfly.
Yeah, we'll
like
go with that.
Dead dragonfly getting eaten by other little bugs.
Yeah. Well, we'll see that as time goes. But now we're at the camp. He's like, what are you doing? The 86 is like, oh, we were finally able to synchronize with them. Then they bring up on how the Republic's technology is very useful. It's like it roots through your consciousness. but if you're asleep, you can't be contacted.
Yeah, I love the fact that now we see the payoff. Like, we know the official payoff of them studying the Pararaid system.
Mm-hmm.
And it's these weird Bluetooth comm set looking things they've been wearing.
I would have preferred the earpiece.
I do too, but I even discussed it with Asna off air. I was like, I actually kind of like this version of the Pararaid, and she even made the comment that it's less invasive.
It is.
You know,
True.
they've put the restrictions on it to where, like Mantis even says, you know, if you're asleep, it doesn't affect you.
Yeah.
You know, whereas
the
original Pararaid system, you know, it was as soon as you turn it on, hey, you know.
Yeah,
Well-
they based it off of it because they took theirs when they actually came in. If you remember, they took the technology and they were fascinated by it. And
Yeah.
they took it and then they've graphed it and changed it. So not only is it not like physically attached to them like the ones they had, because pretty much those were their tags. It's like if you tag an animal in the wild, that's what they had done to them with that Pararaid. They had tagged them, so they couldn't leave.
Yeah.
And now with this one, it's like it's less invasive. They can take it off, they can put it on, and it doesn't intrude in their thoughts while they're sleeping.
True. They could have modified it, but also I don't think with their lessened in technology matters, with them trying to reproduce it, I don't think they were able to produce it down to that size either, with their lacking of technology. Because to get something that small takes skill and knowledge.
Well, and you also got to think that the small field unit version was only for the 86. The actual control version was a collar that was networked to a central network's like server system at HQ. So if you want to make it to where you have kind of more of a free reign communication, you know, more of an open channel communication.
Yeah, true.
You know, I think this headset works more as a easily accessible two-way communication, as opposed to, you know, the restricted form that we had with the Republic.
Yeah, bring up some good points. But now we jump over to the camp where the general is there, and she has a disgusted look on her face when she walks in. And there's just smoke covering the whole... like they're hotboxing their tent.
I mean, yeah, basically. But the funny part is the only one you actually see smoking is the one dude.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just
the vice
like,
commander.
This dude, this one dude has gone through like half a pack of smokes and just Cheech and Chonged that place up.
Yes. And then he ends up bringing...
Willie Nelson and Snoop Dogg had a concert together in there.
So they end up bringing a discussion. It's like, you say that, but just in case, you've brought extra regular leaves, ammo, and spare parts, along with a new repair crew.
God.
Oh, and she brought them in half the shit in by plane too. She talked them into that. I was like, this girl is good. She's almost as good as Lena. Like, she is good.
You notice who reacts when that's brought up, right? It's Mantis. Because he just sneezes when this is brought up. It's like, oh, you even got the chief of staff to authorize the aircraft brought in by air. And sneeze.
Yep, she tricked Bowl Cut into it the whole time. It was perfect.
He has a heart, after all. But
you don't underestimate a very determined woman. I think this is, if this anime has taught us anything, it's do not underestimate a determined woman.
This is true.
And then, well, she even made the suggestion of, like, you go back to the front lines and you refused. It's like, what kind of man would I be if I did? The kids come back after catching their big centipede and all the old men are drinking. They'd make fun of us till the day we died.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not having it.
He's not wrong either.
No, and they've already had that type of situation to begin with as well.
Yeah, I like this guy. I like the grizzled old war vet. Like, he's fantastic.
After this whole conversation, it jumps over to Theo. He's taking out a Legion, and his blade gets stuck.
Actually, I don't think he was taking out the Legion. The Legions were all down and dead. I think he was actually trying to fix a leg spike. I think it's one of the leg spikes that they use for as a mix between combat and for like the wall climbing.
Yeah,
like for extra terrain and stuff. He's like it won't move. It won't come back out.
Yeah.
So he just ended up having to purge it. And we start getting an assessment of everybody's Reagan leafs at this point. You know, everybody's taking an excessive amount of damage. The only person that seems to be in the best case scenario condition is Shin. But even he has a messed up engine. And his blades are pretty much
part.
Yeah, well, his engine is shot to
blades.
shit, and his blades are at their limit.
Yeah, because if you notice when it pans over to Shin's, one of the blades has lost its tip.
Yeah,
and then Raiden has lost a minigun.
Oh yeah,
I do like the fact that they called him out. They called out Shin when he was just like, "No, my engine's acting up." Ever since that first engagement, he's like, "It hasn't really been working right." And they're like, "Oh, you still haven't learned a lesson to not fuck up the legs on your unit?"
Well, this time it's not his legs. Just wait for them to catch up, Roger. Then it goes back to that dragonfly. It's getting eaten.
I'm trying to figure out the exact semblance here with the dragonfly.
I think I know it.
Speak.
Like I'm thinking it's linking to like Shin's ability to like keep his shit together and
his
kind
slow
of like
descent.
Yeah, and then on top of that, kind of like his dynamic with the rest of the team.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, the answer the team, and then the dragonfly is the Morphos.
No, I think the dragonfly is Shin, and I think that the bugs that are like tearing him apart are his insecurities, his doubts, his his strained relationship with like Raiden and everybody right now. You know, just everything that's piling on top of him, it's tearing him apart.
Well, yeah, because at the end, because they are tearing it apart. Because to give it to even at the end when they show it once more, it's actually it's completely gone. Yeah, that kind of does fit with Shin because he's slowly dissipating unless he gets that something to. Well, the whole conversation Raiden had with him, and then also this moment that we go into where we see the sunset and the open field is kind of tearing down at him little by little.
Yeah, this is one of those few moments where it looks like Shin has something to say while they're having this discussion about how the open field compares to like the beach. You know, how calm and peaceful and serene it is. And everybody wanting to go to a beach or a tropical island and stuff like that. But
Andrew wants to go into the snow.
Well, yeah, I mean, what do you expect? Snow Witch, gotta love her. But it pans and we see Shin's lips. And they're trembling, and it's like he's trying to say something, but he just can't get it out.
Yeah.
And it's one of those, you can't really tell if it's something that he wants to get out or knows that he should just keep to himself.
And this kind of puts into light as well what was said earlier of he can't be our Reaper forever. This shows of that as soon as this is over, pretty much they will go their own way, and Shin will be somewhere or in 6 feet under.
Well, the bad part is they made plans. That's right there. When Karina made a plan, I don't have a lot of hope she's going to make it through this season. When she said, when this is over, we should go to the beach. Like, she makes the decision, and I'm like, I don't have a lot of hope for her now. The second anybody gets any hopes or plans or dreams, it just explodes horribly. And maybe I'm being pessimistic, but I don't. It doesn't look real good for her kids. Just so you know, I just feel that deep inside.
And another thing too is at this point when she mentions, you know, all of us when the war's over, if you look at the scene, you've got Theo, Karina, Anju, Raiden, and Frederica and Fido to one side of the screen with the sun shining like directly at them and everything, and then you have Shin and his busted ass Reagan leaf to the left, with a good distance gap between the two of them.
It shows the separation between the two.
Yeah.
And where he technically where they're at in state of mind, and then where he's at in his state of mind.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And what do we go right into right after this scene? We go back to the dragonfly.
Yep. And it's not there anymore.
And
or it's been eaten.
It's basically been broken down to where it's just the head and a couple eyeballs left.
Yeah. And after that, now they're in some abandoned tunnel or building of some sort. Shin's pretty much keeping guard. Fido is next to him. And Shin even makes the comments like, Fido, I told you to go into standby mode until I wake you up tomorrow. And I figured I know why Fido is not listening to him right now. Because he thinks he's going to do something stupid.
Dumb shit.
Yes.
Yep. Yep. Fido's smarter than you think.
Oh, Fido straight up knows. He was just like, the last time you told me to go into standby mode and do my job, you dipped my ass.
And Federico walks in and is like, I thought it was weird to hear you talking so much. It's because you're talking to Fido, huh? And this conversation he has with Federica is a very interesting one, and then also kind of puts Federica in a way that she knows she was in a wrong in a way, but also she also saw what the terrains looked like. It was, to her, it was beautiful. The understanding of reason, the reason you're so disinterested in humanity's survival and your own lives,
is because there's no humans here. It's kind of that same concept that, like, when the pandemic happened and everyone was inside, a lot of places, like,
nature started to take over.
To come back. Yeah, nature started to come back. It's kind of like that. It's kind of that eerie feeling, when humanity's gone, will nature take its place back.
Nature doesn't take its time either when it comes to taking it back.
No.
We saw that firsthand. Well, not firsthand, but we know the details on how it went.
So that's what she's pointing at. She's like, I see. If people aren't there, maybe the world would be more beautiful. Mm-hmm. But then Shin kind of redirects her with it, though.
Well, she also brings up the moment of after defeating your brother, but last fall was fun, wasn't it? Then Shin reacts to that, what she said, when you left the 86th district. The first time you were able to decide everything for yourself. The first time you had freedom. Right. And Shin ends up clenching his fist to this.
I don't know if Shin's ever really had freedom, is the thing. I think Shin is so devoted to the war that in his mind, he's chained to it. I don't think the freedom's there for him. Like, there is no freedom in his mind. He is forever in an eternal battle with this war. Like, he is locked into that.
Yeah.
I think it goes deeper than that, because Shin talks
had a touch of it.
Yeah, Shin talks about it in this direct this conversation, and just to kind of paraphrase some things here, from what I'm kind of getting from Shin is he has a form of like survivor's remorse or survivor's guilt, because his entire family died. Yeah. Everyone he's come close to has died. He himself, when his family died and his brother snapped and tried to choke him to death, he even says, he was like, that night I failed to die. And ever since then, I haven't been the same. I feel like I'm not alive. He feels like a ghost, living this shell of a life. And in my opinion, the battle is the only thing that gives him purpose. Being the Reaper is the only thing that gives him purpose. And he knows that once all of this shit's said and done, everybody else is going to go about their lives and start anew and rebuild. And what's left for a ghost?
Yeah. And Federica even brings up another thing of, like, because she gets up and stands next to Shin and covers her eyes, but a smile comes across her, or a grin. I guess would be the more.
I take that as that almost that self-realization hysteria.
Yeah.
Like you know those moments when like you're so distraught and upset about something that that little piece of you snaps a little bit, and you almost find it funny that you're being so stupid about something.
Yeah.
And you're worried so damn much about something.
Because she doesn't want to see Kiri die, but also with her being... It's like, the Federation doesn't need her anymore because it's a republic. A war could happen because she's alive.
Yeah. She knows she could cause another war. She knows that there's... Just her living alone could cause more damage.
Yeah.
And more pain.
And again, she has that survivor's guilt, kind of like what Shin does with the whole Kiriya situation, where she was very attached and very close to him, and he went completely mental because of her.
Oh.
You know,
And
she blames herself for the situation that he ended up in, aside from the whole Legion situation to begin with. But that, you know, the fact that he went mental and went homicidal, she blames herself.
Yeah.
And she already knows that Kiriya is never going to come back. Kiriya is never going to be Kiriya again. You know, now you just have the Pale Rider, a Legion Shepherd, or in this case, the Morpho. But it's that survivor's guilt of the only thing she feels like she has in life is that purpose of putting Kiri to rest. But then she doesn't want to put Kiri to rest because then she won't have a purpose and she'll miss him.
Yeah.
She's like, at least while he's out there, you know, blowing shit up and making life hell for everybody, at least he's still around.
She also ends up bringing the comment of the reason you're terrified of going forward right now. You tried to see the future for what it is because you tried to look directly in the dark, unthrottled path before you. So it's pretty much he's looking straight into the dark. There's no light to him currently. And he makes the comment, Raiden said the same thing to him. It's like, I'm not like them. I have no wishes the same as... It's like, I'm just a Reaper. And he even makes up says the comment again, and it's like, they'll go at someday, they won't need me. I'll be left behind.
He brings it up again that not having any wishes is the same as not wanting to be alive. He's like, I'm the only one of us that isn't truly still alive.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, I'm just a Reaper. You know, he's just a ghost of who he was, and he has his mission, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. And now, after this whole discussion, it goes out. We see the railing of where that dragonfly was at one point. It's just an eyeball and part of its dome. A part of its eye is missing, and it's just sliding away in the wind.
Yeah, and as it blows off in the wind, we have the Legion units blurring in.
And then it transitions over to the Morpho, Pale Rider. Now, well, probably the better way to call it now, Pale Rider to No Face.
Mm-hmm.
He's beginning his operations. And then No Face is telling him there's new offer. We found traces of an enemy unit within our territory. It appears they are pursuing you. You are searching them in vicinity. So...
Yeah, so automatically we know that the Legion's on to Shin and them.
I'm going to see it in another light or another direction, because the obvious is Shin and the gang are in the territory and they are pursuing him.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing we don't know is the Republic. Who's alive from the Republic? That we don't know who's alive. We don't know what's coming in from their side. They could probably be attacking as well, because they didn't give us any clear directive on who.
That's
they
true.
Just say,
well, and at the same time, you know, we also know that the United Kingdoms are making these decoy plays.
Yep.
So this could be what they were talking about. This could be a distraction unit, and Kiriya or Pale Rider thinks that this is Shin and his group. And that's why that's why we get the flash of Shin's logo and his obsessive, nature is like, hey, I'm going to go wreck this guy's life. So,
yeah. But we have no clear indication on who's about to attack. So, and the title card that we got for, well, with it being also Christmas next week, we might have another gap.
Yeah, I'm honestly thinking that we are probably going to have another gap next week because of holidays, as well as we all know that the studio's been having some production issues. We've discussed that in the past.
I don't know if they're going to give it, it's going to be a 1 week break or a 2 week break, because we got Christmas and then the following week we got New Year's.
True.
I hope it's
we'll
not
just
a 2
play
week
it by
break.
ear. We'll play it by ear, and we'll be back with it as soon as 86 is back with it. So
very true. And the title card for the next episode, All That's Left.
could be taken so many ways, especially after the discussions of this episode.
Yes. So I will say until next time, I'm Rain Wolf.
This is Kyrdo Silverheart.
This is Asana Silverheart.
Leave a like, comment, maybe even subscribe, and until next time.
Bye.
Bye.